Is money literally the only reason that you're deciding whether or not your seed gets to live or die? I would encourage people to think a little deeper than that, because I don't think money should decide life or death. Not whether you're talking about a newborn baby or you're talking about even, somebody who can't afford their medication, right? This is what capitalism does. Capitalism says, well, if you can't afford to buy medicine, then you should be dead. And that's just not healthy. That's not a good thing, right? We shouldn't have a society where we're told that not having enough money means you don't get to live. Life should be a basic human right. And so anyway, with that being said, though, I will say that if you have a black boy, especially, and you want your black boy to reach his fullest potential, that's really going to have to be your job. You're going to have to sort of take him off the track a little bit and kind of give him the real deal, the real conversation. You can even bring him to my class, and you know me, I'm gonna give him the real deal and really tell him how America really works. Because I think that when we are given a fantasy about how America is supposed to work, it ends up we end up getting our feelings hurt. We end up angry. Right? Give me a guess if you've seen that. Give me a guess if you have felt this yourself. Have you ever felt angry because the so-called American dream didn't show up the way you thought it would? Give me a guess if you've ever been angry, maybe because you were discriminated against. You didn't get the job that you should have gotten, even though you worked just as hard as the white girl and y'all applied for the same job and she got the job and you didn't, or maybe somebody got the less qualified, got a promotion you deserved. Just whatever, right? You get mad. You get really mad. And I think and that's what happens when somebody feeds you a fantasy from birth, and then you get into the real world and you think the fantasy will apply, then you're gonna be pissed. You're gonna be like, damn, like you ain't doing this, you're not doing it the way you're supposed to do it. I think that happens a lot in relationships, to be honest with you. I think that we give people this fantasy about marriage, like, oh, everything's gonna be wonderful and everybody's gonna always treat each other right, and women are always gonna be sweet and loving, and men will never cheat and whatever, right? And then things happen and people are like, you broke my heart. That was terrible. I grew up in a family where I watched my parents fight through 50 years. This is their 50-year wedding anniversary in October. Next month is their 50-year wedding anniversary. And it ain't not wasn't no fantasy involved in getting through that 50 years. It was almost like when I ran my first marathon. I thought that running your first marathon would feel really good and you'd be strong and you'd be moving through and you'd smile across the finish line. That was not the reality. It was horrible. I think I wanted to just shoot myself after mile 7. It was the most excruciating, terrible experience ever. Me and my wife were fighting in that race because she's like, come on, Boyce, run faster. I was like, I'm not running faster. Just be happy that I didn't stop running because I hate this shit. Right. So running the marathon, I got a picture. I look happy. Like it looks like a beautiful day, but it was terrible. It was one of the worst days of my life. But I did it, right? I did it. Now I get to be proud that I made it, but there was no fantasy involved in accomplishing that. And I think that that's just true in general. Like, the fantasies don't work. The racial fantasies don't exist. I think that the best thing a kid can do is to really be trained to see America for what it is and not America for what it's supposed to be or what they were taught that it is in school. And I think that you're the best. That's why I think you're the best teacher for that black child. You should be talking to that boy and helping him understand, like, look, son, if you ain't got no money, a lot of these women ain't gonna respect you. I believe that. I'm sorry. Forgive me if I disrupt your sensibilities or offend anyone by saying this. I think a lot of women have a hard time respecting a man who either isn't providing anything or and it isn't trying, right?